because Agostino Zinga, found the way, only I could find a way to get fired from a temporary position that was only 3 months, right? It was only a 3-month position. With obviously there was aspects of it where like, oh, if you do well, you can stay on. But technically it was only a 3-month position. Only I could find a way to get fired from a 3-month role after month 1. As some of you may have gleaned from the title of this particular stream, of this particular podcast, I've had some life updates. I've had a life update that I've had to kind of, mull over and meditate over and marinate over and think about and deliberate over the past weekend. And I thought, you know what? Best to let you guys know so that we can proceed with the content, because at the end of the day, most of you mofos out there don't really care, but oddly enough, this will positively impact those of you who have been crying out for more content. Those of you who've wanted more content from me, who've wanted me to be on stream longer, who've wanted me to be updating you on the Bappaverse, wanted me to updating you on Man United incomings and goings and drama and sneaker news and fashion stuff and burger and stuff and techno stuff and new stuff and just waffle. All the waffle that I like to speak about my pod and my content and everything else I do online. Some of you guys will be happy. Some of you won't be happy because you'll be like, oh man, come on AG, come on AZ, what the hell is going on? But we're gonna get there in the long run. We're gonna get there. So to make matters easy to digest and to make matters smooth, for those of you who are unaware, over the last over the last maybe year and a half, right? I was looking for a job, basic employment, because before that I was doing some little part-time things here and there. I was trying to basically plug in some of my financial gaps, and to be completely honest, some of my financial gaps happened because of the flipping demonetization of Taz. Taz being monetized for the longest time as it was holding me down super nicely. I didn't need to go out and get anything. That's why I was banging out so many streams and doing so much content. But when Taz got demonetized, it's kind of temporary. I can appeal it in January. I've got one appeal denied, I think in October. I tried to re-appeal it, so I have to wait another 3 months, so I can appeal it again in January. But when Taz got demonetized, it kind of threw my situation for a loop. But regardless, you take personal responsibility. It's all your fault. So you meditate, you breathe in, you breathe out. I decided to go out and try to look for a job to kind of plug in those financial gaps. But if I didn't get demonetized from Taz, I would have been fine. But that happened. Cool. I'm looking now, and guess what happened when I started looking? I found out that in the time that I had the job last, and in the time that I was taking Taz more seriously, and I didn't need one, the job market had completely changed. My skills, my experience, my previous roles that I was kind of swimming and dancing in, they no longer existed, which made a lot of sense, right? Because a lot of companies during the pandemic, a lot of companies post-pandemic decided to kind of like, decided to sort of like slim down their employees, decided to be a little more streamlined. They didn't need to have like a marketing manager and a marketing assistant. You could just get the marketing manager to do everything the marketing assistant can do in one job, or if anything, you could split the roles between 2 people, not 5. So I was finding out that most companies were doing that, or what was really hurting me and really hurting my confidence was that the roles I had previously, like, I don't know, I've had roles as being as a community manager, which essentially is just a, it's just what I had said. A community manager is just like a fancy way of calling somebody like a moderator, essentially. That's basically what you do. You look after the community of whatever company you're working for. Usually they exist on Facebook, they might exist on LinkedIn, they might exist on Instagram, there may be a private Discord, it might be a WhatsApp chat, but it doesn't require much work. But I remember in the past, being a community manager for a few startup companies or whatever they may be, I was getting paid pretty well. I was getting paid maybe like north of like 28,000 a year to just essentially sit on social media all day, retweeting stuff, liking things and posting things. That's it, right? And I was getting those jobs. I was getting a lot of those jobs over the years. A lot of those jobs easily. I'll drop one, I'll get another one, I'll drop one, I'll get another one. Well, it seems like the job market completely changed. Those community manager jobs don't exist anymore. Nobody doesn't really need a marketing assistant like I was prior, who's just going to sit there and send out email newsletters or do blog posts, because, why would you give somebody 28, 29, 30 grand a year to send out 4 newsletters a week or send out 4 newsletters a month when you could just get the marketing manager to do that, plus do the paid ads, plus do, content creation, plus do content calendars, plus do, you know, whatever, what do you call it, content marketing stuff. Like, you know, you can get way more out of somebody for that salary than having me just like clicking one button and stuff. So the jobs that I wanted, or the jobs that I had experience in, didn't no longer exist. Then came the extra bit of a kick in the nuts. So the jobs I did previously in that year where I was doing tasks seriously no longer exist, or if they do exist, they want you to do way more for them. Cool. Well, it seems like the jobs underneath those are even harder to get. And I'm talking about the ones that just involve you doing customer service stuff. Those are incredibly hard to get hold of. Whether it's shop floor, whether it's doing customer service for a company and answering emails and doing tickets on Intercom or Zendesk, I found those ones just below the ones I did previously. So, you know, I'd say like that, you know, my upper level jobs are like, you know, essentially being a content marketer, being a marketing person, being a social media manager, being a community manager. That's kind of like the top level of my experience. But the ones underneath, which I've done obviously before, as in customer service and as in customer service and operations and shit, those jobs are so hard to get a hold of. And I was like, oh my god, the job landscape has completely changed. I've been out of this for like a year and a half and it's not the same anymore. So I was struggling even to get those. Like there'll be times where I think I might have even applied for a Tesco role. I think I applied for Tesco Express at one point and I didn't even hear back from them. Imagine. So you're applying for Tesco's and even Tesco's not even giving you back a reply. It's not even like they said no. They just didn't reply back. You know? Which is probably worse than a no. Anyway, long story short, I finally get one right at the end. So, and this is like a 3-month position to do like customer support basically. And to be honest, I probably knew from the first week it wasn't going to go well. I knew from the first week it wasn't going to go well because unfortunately, the sector that this company works in is mostly like in like, you know, accounting and taxes and all sort of malarkey. But I think when I initially saw the role, when I initially was given the role, because I got recommended, this is another thing that really hurts as well, is that I was recommended this by like a friend of a friend. So, you know, it's kind of like a bit of a kick in the nuts for them that you recommended me. And then after a month, you know, I got told to, yo, get the hell out of here. But to be fair to me and to give myself a little bit of a bly, they did sell me a bit of a dream, which I understand why they did it in the company sense. I understand why they did it, right? So they sold us a dream in that it felt like I was just going to go into this role and I was basically going to be a customer support, you know, agent who's just going to respond to tickets of people saying, hey, I want to use this service. Can you tell me about your service? And then I sit there and tell them about their service, or I answer questions based on the service that we offer. But guess what happened? That wasn't the role. The role was actually a little bit more in-depth than that. You were required not only to tell them about the service that the company you work for does, you were also required to have some basis of tax and accounting knowledge. Now, I don't hold that against them. That's my fault. I wasn't able to kind of learn and to kind of, you know, get it. I think I had a bit of a, what's the thing called? I had an intellectual gap there, and I've always had it even since I was a kid. I think I excelled in every subject in school. I found school incredibly easy. I passed all the levels. I went straight to St. Martin's without doing a foundation. Like, you know what I mean? I always excelled in education. Let's not, you know, cut any corners around it. It's obvious. You know, I'm a smart guy. But when it comes to maths, when it comes to numbers, oh my God, I am a category A redact. When it comes to maths, when it comes to numbers, I am a category A redact. In every other subject area, I'm confident. If you give me 6 months to a year, I'm knocking that shit down. I'm like, nothing is beyond me. But mathematics, anything to do with like accounting, I'm all over the place. So as soon as I heard what was going on and I was figured out, oh no, this isn't just a recommend people the service role and it required a little bit more knowledge, I think I kind of got a little bit you know, I feel I got a little bit I got knocked off my square a little bit, and I was struggling ever since then. But to be fair to them, they did provide a lot of training, they did provide a lot of support, blah 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 over time. But it was pretty clear as the weeks were going on that I was definitely the weakest link in the group. And the thing is, it's like it was like a 3-month contract, so it was meant to be October, December, January was the 3 month. No, sorry, November, December, January. It was a 3-month contract, and the idea behind that was that because the tax deadline is coming up in like January 31st, the self-assessment deadline, they wanted extra people in to kind of help with the workload because usually people leave their taxes until the last minute. So they brought us in, 5 of us. But it was pretty clear from like the first couple of weeks that I was definitely one of the weakest link within that 5. And God Almighty, man, for somebody like myself who excels, in most of my areas of life, career, education, to work somewhere where you don't want to be anyway, right? In the first place, somewhere where you want to leave anyway, but then be regarded as somebody that's the lowest of the people that you joined. Yeah, that shit will humble you. That shit will humble you. Let's not even get into the side of like ages and shit. Who cares about all that stuff? But that would actually add an extra level of fucking, salt, humbleness, and embarrassment. But feeling like, and it being made very clear to you that you are the weakest link and you are kind of holding everybody back that was hard to take. I'm not gonna lie, but I give myself credit in that I did try. It kind of hurts because I tried, because I think it's easier. When you don't try, it's easy to just say, oh yeah, fuck this place, fuck the job. But I did try. I tried my hardest to learn this shit. But I knew I was in trouble the moment we were doing training and I was nodding off. I knew I was in trouble when we were doing training and I was falling asleep. I knew I was in trouble. I knew it. So, in the end, they told me, Agostino, you're fired. So in case anybody's wondering why this pod is titled this way, it's because I, Agostino Zinga, found the way, only I could find a way to get fired from a temporary position that was only 3 months, right? It was only a 3-month position. With obviously there was aspects of it where like, oh, if you do well, you can stay on. But technically it was only a 3-month position. Only I could find a way to get fired from a 3-month role after month 1. And to make it worse too, I think the reason why they did it now is because, if I'm not mistaken, I think this week actually would have been the week where we will start working from home. So for the most part, we're going into the office, a co-working space. But I think this week would have been the week where we're going to work from home because they gave us the training. They feel like we're comfortable enough. They feel like they're confident enough to leave us to our own devices. But I think they were so worried that if they sent us home, the hour was going to be really, really bad. Because imagine if I'm bad in the office and I'm not getting the numbers that I should be getting, or I'm not flipping doing the answer I should be doing, and my knowledge isn't where it should be, they'll probably think to themselves, shit, if we let this guy go home, he might be answering 1 ticket a day. You know what I mean? We can't do that. So, kudos. I understand. It was a bit of a kick in the teeth, hard to take, and to be a little bit critical of myself. I'm not happy how I handled it. In most situations, I'm very magnanimous. I'm very like chill. I'm very calm. I'm very able to kind of take on my own. I've always got the kind of extreme ownership mantra running in my head. Jocko Willink, right? Big up Jocko Willink. Good. I've always got that extreme ownership thing running in my head. But for this one moment, I was a bit bratty. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit bratty. I might have said some things that I probably shouldn't have said in the little, meeting thing we had afterwards. So I do kind of regret that. A part of me wanted to be like, send them an email after, be like, you know what? I should have said that. You guys were good. I was just shit at the job. No hard feelings. But I thought, you know what? Let's just leave it like that. Sometimes, even though I think deep down I'm a good guy, I think so, right? Generally, I'm not flipping hiding any babies underneath my flipping flat. I don't kill women at night or anything. But I think generally I'm a good person. But sometimes, just leaving things a little bit tense and being a little bit of combative can sometimes be nice. It can feel good. Even though I didn't really need to do that and it wasn't their fault, it did make me feel good at the end. I'm not gonna lie, because they embarrassed me by making me feel like I was a fucking ugly duckling. I was a black sheep, right? They're kind of, especially towards the end, I was like, shit, man, because I haven't been in a working environment in a long time in it, so I forgot what it felt like when you kind of get when you get ostracized. Like, have you seen that when somebody is clearly not liked? Because I've seen it. I think I've not seen it in workplaces where you're not doing well. I've seen it in workplaces where someone doesn't like somebody. Happens a lot mostly in retail. It doesn't really happen in office spaces. But in retail, somebody's not liked, people tend to kind of avoid them and just kind of leave them to their own devices. So it was kind of gnarly for me to be that person. I was like, raw, Ted. I'm that person. Like, I'm being like, people, like especially let's say the senior management or the whatever, they were like real cunts, like towards the end. Like, one of them didn't talk to me at all for like 2 days. I was like, oh shit, something's going on. I think I kind of got an inkling of what was happening. I think I knew the end was near. So one of them did talk to me for like 2 days. And then when I brought it up, he's like, oh yeah, that's how you perceive it. I was so bruv about how I perceived it, man. Like, come on, man. Let's not play games with adults here. You're ignoring me because you know the end was near. I get it. I was marked, right? I had the fucking cross on my fucking door. I get it. But let's chill. So that was kind of weird, and also weird to have like there was a girl that was like working kind of above me who was like a permanent staff there. She wasn't like a senior or anything, but she was there. But she kind of acted like she was. Somebody who's like, she's a full-timer there, but she kind of acted like she was a seniority, but she didn't really have any seniority. And I could tell even her, like, the friction that was beginning. Like, she was really starting to roll. Every time I had to ask a question, she would roll her eyes. She wouldn't look my way when she was answering a question. She kept staring at the laptop. And I was like, raw, Ted, man. This, like, bad-built fucking, like, this bad-built faux Amazonian fucking piece of shit bitch. Like, how dare you have this attitude to me? But then I took a breath in. I was like, you know what? I get it. If I was looking at it from her point of view, and there was someone like me here who just couldn't get it and kept asking questions, it kept annoying you throughout your workday. I understand. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even like trying to I was trying to learn. Don't get me wrong, but maybe they could kind of sense I wasn't really, really, really trying to learn. If that makes sense. I was trying to learn to do the job, but I wasn't trying to learn to like learn it. Look, I was like, look, I don't need any of this knowledge. I don't need to know about fucking LL, limited liability companies and fucking taxes and locom or whatever that fucking shit is. I need to know any of this shit. Why do I need to know this shit? But I guess in the end they were right. I didn't need to know this shit because I'm the one that got told to skedazzle. So that was kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie. So the funny thing about it again is that I was complaining on here about the job. I was saying, oh man, it's fucking me over. I can't stream, I can't record, I can't do content, I can't do my DJ mixes, and my life is ruined. And now look, you see, look at the universe. Look at what God does. You start crying, complaining. God says, okay, here. Now you have all the time. Now here you go. You wanted time? Here's the time. You wanted time? Here's your friggin' time. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. Leaving work at midday, and then at the end of it, yeah, we're gonna, blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool, no problem, I get it. Got my stuff. And oddly enough, this company is weird. They let you use the, oh yeah, if you want to say bye to your friends on Slack. So, oh, cool. One or two bothers. I went down. We have our little intern fucking 3-month people chat thing. So I just sent a little, a little thing to those people on Slack, which is interesting because usually they don't let you do that. But let me do that, because usually, you might fly off the handle and just start saying some mad shit in the main chat. So I just said, yeah, bye to everybody, picked up my stuff and just kind of dipped in it. And that was it basically. Midday, midday cycling back home with all my stuff, with my lunch I hadn't eaten yet. Like, what? Oh, that was honestly, midday going back home on like the Friday. Was it Friday? No, I think it was Thursday. Coming back home on the Thursday with like my lunch already in the Tupperware, hadn't eaten. Okay, cool. Now eat it now at home. So yeah, that chapter's over. So man got fired. Yes, in the moment it kind of felt a little bit embarrassing given the situation because it was a 3-month contract and I couldn't last 3 months, whatever. But given the nature of the job, given my lack of ability to take in numbers and all that sort of shit, I'm not too surprised. And in the end, it's probably going to work out for the better for me in the long term. Probably going to work out. That's what I'm thinking. Not in terms of, oh yeah, I'm going to become this fucking big, amazing guy, but just more so in terms of like, now I know, you have to be very like, it's hard to say that when you don't have anything, when you don't have a job and shit, but you have to be really careful about the things that you say yes to, because sometimes just in terms of desperation, you can say yes to something that you probably have no business saying yes to. And that's probably the situation that happened with that job. I probably should have never agreed to take it in the first place, but I was in a position where needs must, and I took it. I guess I don't regret it now, kind of, because it kind of, it got me out of that situation. I was able to kind of, have a bit of movement and whatever it may be. And also off the back of that, I was able to have like other interviews as well that kind of, maybe will result in something in the future. But damn, son, damn. It's been a long time since I felt inadequate. It's been a long time since I felt like, okay, cool, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was one of the times. And let me tell you, there's nothing more humbling to somebody who thinks a lot of themselves, intellectually, to go somewhere at a job that you feel like you're better than or you're above than, and then they go, you know what? You fuck off. There's nothing more humbling about that. Nothing in the world can be more humbling than you thinking so highly of yourself, and the place that you go to brings you back down to reality and says, you know what? You're probably not as good as you think you are. You're probably not as smart as you think you are. And you're not as that big of a catch as you think you are. So yeah, that was what it was. So big up the very short-lived employment arc, you know. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. So big up everybody who didn't know that. So yeah, just in case you don't know, I got fired. I got fired. I got FIRED. Let go. 3-month contract. Mad thing. But we're back here now. The good thing is we're back here. We're going to be streaming a bunch more, recording a bunch more. And yeah, man, this is where we're going to be. So you're going to see a lot more content from me. The Patreon's going to be going up. We're going to be pushing this thing out here. We're going to be streaming a bunch more on a random show. And we're going to be putting out a lot more Tazes, not stopping, not crying, not complaining. We're going to keep on going. So big up everybody that's been, you know, keeping my spirits up in general. Especially since I haven't been streaming as much and been checking in on me. Big up Young Old Vibes. Big up Uche. Big up Koila. Who else is it? Who else has been reaching out to me? Big up, I think Steve. A bunch of you guys who have been reaching out to me on the DMs and shit. Big up everybody, you know, that's been talking to me on DMs and shit. And kind of keeping my, you know, my spirits alive and shit. I appreciate you. But everything is good. Everything is goody. But unfortunately, your boy got the boot, man. Your boy got the boot. The proverbial boot. But again, not surprised, not too surprised, given how terrible I was at the flipping job. Honestly, given how terrible I was at the job, I'm not fucking surprised. But Jesus, bro, honestly, constantly being at the bottom of the leaderboard in some job that you don't really care about, woohoo, that kind of hurts, man. I'm not gonna lie. Those weekly reviews, but they were smart though. That was a good decision what they did. They had this 3-month role, but there was always these weekly reviews that you were doing on Wednesday. And every Wednesday, it'd be like, yeah, you do this, do that, improve this, improve that. And every fucking Wednesday, even though they started the job saying, hey, it's not a competition about how many tickets you close, every Wednesday it was like, yeah, you're bottom of the leaderboard. I was like, hold on, you said it wasn't a competition about tickets. It's about making sure you get the answers right. So I'm spending all this time crafting these perfect answers on these emails, but actually you meant to do but you know how jobs are. They want you to do everything. They want you to answer as many questions. They want you to get all the questions right. They want you to have the best questions to, you know, to stop the amount of back and forth. It's like, yeah. But I couldn't really complain about that because I was the only one that couldn't do it. So I couldn't be like, oh shit, I couldn't like, you know, I couldn't throw out the race card because everyone else on the team was, you know, non-whites. And I couldn't, you know, throw out the fucking, it's too much mental health shit because the other people were just smashing it. You know what I mean? I was the only one that wasn't able to kind of get it. So I have to take that on the chin. Man, I have to take that on the chin. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm a little bit annoyed because the co-working space was kind of nice, man. I didn't really get to use it much. The co-working space was open on the weekends that I was working in. It wasn't too far from where I lived, so it was a good little commute. So I was getting my cycling, hence why I was, you know, people were calling me Azempic and shit. I was getting my fucking cardio in. I was like cycling every day. Was like 8 miles a day, which I'm probably going to start keep doing anyway. I was cycling every day, 8 miles a day. I think it's maybe more than 4, maybe 9. I think it was 4.5 miles. So 4.5 miles, one either way, back home and shit. Obviously that, you know, getting the fucking LBs off. And the co-working space was pretty sick. The co-working space opened on the weekends. All you needed was just a car to kind of scan yourself in. So I could have streamed in there. I could have used it to do stuff. You know what I mean? It was a pretty cool space to kind of hang out in. But hey, it's over. But to be fair anyway, to me as well, it was taking a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie. And I didn't know, like, you know, it's probably a part of like maturity, I guess, realizing that unfortunately I'm at the stage in my life, and I think most of you are probably like this too. Probably, most of you guys are probably much younger than me as well, so that's probably even more embarrassing because you probably got your lives figured out way more than I have. But I'm at a stage in my career now where I can't really do these like, how do you call them? I can't really do these like bullshit jobs. They don't really exist anymore. You know, I've got too much experience. I'm too old to do a bullshit job. If I get back into employment, it has to be like either like a proper like, you know, lower level job like working on the shop floor or working in a bar, or it has to be like a proper job in the office. I can't just be somebody just clocking in, clocking out and just pressing buttons. No one's going to pay me for that. They're going to want to get the most out of me, which is going to require me to spend more time there, you know, commit more of my brain cells. And I was really noticing how difficult it was to do that type of job and also balance content and shit. It's just really hard to do. Obviously you can do it, don't get me wrong, it is possible, but I found it mentally taxing. And I started to understand a lot of people who like enjoy watching like, you know, what you call it, reality TV and stuff and all that sort of like, you know, what I call like microwavable TV. I understood it a lot more after working this job because it just allowed you to kind of like, you know, tune out and to kind of let your brain just rest, because you don't have to think watching those shows. You can watch baddies. You don't need to figure out the plot. You don't need to know anyone's name. You can kind of figure out what's going on. Real Housewives, Love is Blind. You can kind of just figure out what's going on, even with your back turned. You could be on the fucking toilet and your phone could be outside the door and you can still figure out what's going on. So I understood that more, because you don't want to engage your brain in watching a documentary or watching some Ken Burns movie thing. You just want to just chill. So I find it very difficult at that time to kind of do that. 9 to 6 it was as well. It wasn't a 9 to 5, it was a 9 to 6 as well, which was good because I had an hour break. I'd take my laptop to work every day and like edit, or I'd kind of set up the stream, or I'd whatever, or I'd fucking upload the audio podcast and shit. So I was trying to do that, balancing both things, but it was a lot. Do you know what I mean? Rushing to eat my food in like 10-20 minutes and then fucking uploading the audio thing on the thing, and it was a lot. But anyway, the other good thing about it too, actually, to give them blind, was the little company dinners. They were quite good. We went to quite a few little company dinners, company drinks and shit. So been a lot of times I've been to those type of things. Those are quite, chill to go to. You get fucking drunk and you get fed on the company's card. No problem with that whatsoever. Ordering pizzas at lunch all the time. There was always some weird day at the co-working space. Oh, today's burger day. Today's muffin day. There was always something to eat for free downstairs, which was quite nice. But I don't know, man. I don't really care about that stuff as much as I did in the past. Maybe it's a thing when you're younger. You're like, oh my God, they got free beer. But I don't really give a fuck. If I want to buy beer, I'll just buy some beer. It's not that big of a deal. But it was enjoyable at that moment, in that month that I was in there. So that chapter's done. The Aggo employment 9 to 5 era is done for now. It might start up again later. I'll let you guys know if that is the case. But for now, we are back fully unemployed content creator wave. Okay, this is what we're doing out here. All right, unemployed, immigrant, minority, IC free content creators, stand up, wave your fists in the air. We're out here. Okay, big up all my minority, unemployed content creators, working class. We're doing the best given what we're available. We're doing the best with what we have available.